Let's continue our conversation now with retired Army Major General Paul Vallely joining us from Montana. Paul, we thank you again for your time. This bill was known as the Clay Hunt Suicide Prevention for American Veterans Act, named for a Marine veteran and activist who sadly took his own life in 2011. Veteran groups touting the measure as a key step forward in veterans' mental health care, but Tom Coburn believed the VA is to blame and that this would be adding fiscal fuel to the ongoing fire at the VA. As you look at this, given your background in the military and your knowledge of the challenge that returning veterans have coming home, what kind of comment do you have? What would you have liked to have seen in the wake of this scene in the U.S. Senate on Monday?
Well, I think, J.D., again, you cannot legislate solutions to this kind of a problem that's created by our strategy, all these employments overseas, deployments, I should say, and the lack of support in the outer lands of America where these veterans return and they don't have the care that they need and the treatment that they need. You know, the Veterans Administration has plenty of money. They're the second largest organization that's funded outside of the Pentagon, and they've even doubled their support over the last 10 years in people as well as money. So the Veterans Administration has to administer this and lead from within to take care of these troops. The suicide rates, as you know, for the last couple of years has been the highest that we've ever had in the military. And a lot of that has to do with morale. It has to do with family situations. And so legislation, other than providing the money to the Veterans Administration that can use it properly, is absolutely important. But you can't legislate away all these post-traumatic stress cases that we have. That needs to be done locally in the hospitals, and that's why I've advocated the veterans really be given a card. They can use any hospital, get any treatment that they require wherever they are. And that's what we need to do, and not centralize a lot of this back in Washington with legislation and hoping that it's going to work.
2.5 minutes remain, Paul. The other day, the president traveled to a base in New Jersey, and in addition to calling and joking about the military men behind him being Santa in fatigues, a joke that didn't go so well, he was trumpeting the drawdown in Afghanistan and what he called a leaner United States military. 2 minutes remain. What do you think the goal of this commander-in-chief is vis-a-vis our armed forces?
Well, his goal is and he said it right from the beginning, and he said it throughout the last 6 years, is basically to take us out of the Middle East as far as the military is concerned, drawing down Iraq, forces in Iraq, now drawing down to 10,000 the forces in Afghanistan, giving us a weaker position in that area without a future strategy that I've suggested, going to the Joint Strike Force operations and what we call the lily pad strategy, where we can attack anywhere, anytime. But certainly we're gutting the military, we're gutting programs, we're gutting equipment. The troops in a survey just a few weeks ago do not have confidence in the leadership in the senior levels of the Defense Department or in the White House. So when you have all of these actions going on and inactions, if you can't support the troops, they don't know you're supporting them from high, they're not going to perform at their higher levels and the levels they should be. So those are the real problems we have, but it's an overall architectural problem that emanates from the White House. 20
seconds remain. In your estimation, Paul, how low is the morale in our nation's military today?
Well, from the indications I get from some of the polls, you perhaps have seen the Military Times magazine came out with one 2 weeks ago, down perhaps in the low 50s. It could be below 50% now, but it's certainly not up in the 90s that we should have, that we had during the build-up in the Reagan administration, where the morale really increased after the post-Vietnam period, after it was taken down by Carter. So
fair enough,
we've
sir.
seen this up and down. Yeah.
We'll have to leave it there. Major General Paul Vallely, you have our thanks for your insights and analysis, and America's Forum will continue right after this.